Coming at you with a video that's a little bit different today. Rebecca and I, as some of you might know, are at a very pivotal moment with our immigration application. And I wanted to make this video because there's a lot going on revolving immigration right now, some immigration reform, but I think there's a lot of ignorance and misunderstanding when it comes to immigration and how complex and how backwards kind of the system is. So if you know anybody who is affected by immigration, or if immigration is a big deal to you, I ask that you'll share this because you never know who's going to watch it. I can tell you personally, I could use help or guidance when it comes to my own life and how immigration affects my life. But there's a lot of other people out there who also need help, and the system needs help and it needs reform. So if you could share this, it would mean a lot to me, it would mean a lot to Rebecca, and it would mean a lot to a lot of other people. So anyways, a little bit of background. My name is James Hunt. I'm 25 years old. I have a college degree. I have no criminal record. I'm fully employed with a career type job. So I'm a pretty squeaky clean American citizen. My wife, she's 22 years old. She's awesome. I mean, she's literally one of the best people, if not the best person I've ever met. I mean, I wouldn't have married her if that wasn't the case. Once again, she has no record. She actually went to a police academy to become a police officer. 22, she's just great, so smart and ambitious. The only problem is that she's a Canadian citizen. So I know a lot of people, they think that when you get married, if you're a United States citizen and you get married to someone who's Canadian or from another country, that automatically will make them a US citizen. So that's the number one misconception that I kind of want to bring to the table, is that if you're a United States citizen and you marry someone who is not a US citizen, that does not give them any kind of benefits. The United States does not recognize my marriage to a Canadian citizen as being anything in allowing her to come to the United States. So just to make that clear, my wife is not allowed to enter the United States to live and be with me. What she can do is she can visit the United States for vacation purposes for short periods of time, but she cannot live in the United States. So think about that for a second. If you're married or in a relationship, would you be able to afford 2 mortgages, 2 utility payments, 2 vehicles, basically double whatever your current expenses are? Would you be able to afford to double it? That's kind of the situation that we've been in because of the fact that we can't live in the same place. We have to prepare and plan for basically to have 2 different lives. Obviously, most importantly, we just can't be together legally. We can't live our life together. We can't start our lives. And I think most people, when they get married, especially young people, they just want to get going and have a chance and be successful, but we don't even get that opportunity. We just want to be together. So that's really the biggest thing, is if you're a United States citizen and you marry someone who's not a citizen of the United States, they are not allowed to come to the country and live there. Now, before Rebecca and I got married, when she was my fiance, we knew that this was a serious relationship. We knew we were going to get married. So, I mean, that was all part of the plan. However, you can file what's called an I-129F with the United States government that basically says, hey, I'm engaged. I want to file an immigration application for my fiance that will allow her to come to the United States, and then you have to get married within 90 days. So we figured that would be the best option. I paid several $100s, filled out tons of forms, mailed it all in, and they basically told us that, you know, within 4 to 5 months, you should hear something on your application, basically either get approved or denied, and then at that point, there's another 4 to 5 months of sending paperwork back and forth, getting a medical exam, and going to an interview, and that's when they ultimately decide whether or not you get to come to the United States or whatnot. So that's what we did. We filed the application, we did everything. Keep in mind that she wasn't allowed to live in the United States during the process. So 4 or 5 months rolled around and we didn't hear anything. Literally, once you send off your paperwork, you get a notice that they have received it and that they have deposited your money, and then you won't hear anything. So of course I'm very proactive. I'm very proactive in everything that I do. So I called and called and called, and they just won't tell you anything. Sorry, we don't have any updates. After the 4th or 5th month, I decided to start contacting politicians and saying, hey, this is where I'm at. This is the situation. We have no criminal record. We both have full-time jobs. We both work. Could you inquire about my application? I contacted, I guess, 3 different politicians, and one of them was actually able to give me a little bit of insight. It was Eddie Bernice Johnson in Dallas. Her office was able to get in contact with USCIS, the immigration agency for the United States, and they said that my application was being held up for matters of national security because I needed to undergo additional background checks. Now keep in mind that at the time I was 24 years old. I had already graduated from college. I had a full-time job, and I've never broken a law. I mean, I have like 1 speeding ticket. So it was pretty bizarre that they said that, you know, my application was being held up due to background checks. So they said, sorry, there's nothing we can do. You just have to keep waiting. So 9 months go by. We have not heard anything. Keep in mind, so we're having to maintain a relationship completely apart for 9 months while this is going on. Most people can't even go a couple of days without being with their significant other. We have 9 months of being apart. So we finally say, you know what? Even if it gets approved today, we're still going to have 4 to 5 months of undergoing this additional processing, which, you know, that could turn into 8 months. Forget about it. We're just going to go ahead and get married. Now keep in mind, everybody says, well, if it's such a serious relationship, why don't you just go ahead and get married so that they allow her into the country? Well, like I said, that's not the way it works. Getting married, and I've had to explain this so many times, getting married would not change anything. What we hoped, however, is that by getting married, our application would continue to process and we would be able to move forward, but we would at least be married. So I came to Canada, and actually, so I scheduled my flights and everything, told my boss at work, hey, I'm going to Canada, we're going to get married. And about a week or 2 weeks before I left, I get a letter in the mail saying our application has finally been approved, which, you know, congratulations, you know, big deal. So I go to Canada, we get married, which is great because we haven't seen each other, you know, and who knows how long. But I contact USCIS to inform them, and I'm told that because you got married, you have to start the process over 100% from step 1. And I tried to explain, I said, well, you know, it's the same people, it's the same thing. Can we not just continue the application except we're married at this point? You know, so it should be easier. She's got a new driver's license, new passport, new everything. No, we're very sorry, but we can't continue on your application. You have to start over. So that's a big blow. We paid all the money for the applications. We filled all the paperwork. We were separated for 9 months, only to find out that because we got married, we have to start the process over again. So it was very upsetting, but obviously, what are we going to do? We have to start over. So we fill out all the paperwork again. This time our fee is a little bit more. It's about $500, and we send off the paperwork. Fast forward 5 months. Here we are. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard one thing. Now, this was called a form I-130, so just in case you're wondering, it's an I-130, not an I-129F this time. But 5 months later, and we haven't heard anything regarding our application. Now, based on average processing times, we should hear something fairly soon. But think about this for a second. It has now been 14 months of doing applications, and we still haven't been accepted for anything. Or we did get accepted, but obviously we had to start over. So we have been doing this now for 14 months. If it gets accepted today, we still probably have at least 4 months of paperwork to go through. These are 2 people who have no criminal records. We've never been married. We have no children. We both are educated. We both have jobs. And this is what we're going through. most of the immigration use stuff, or stuff that you hear about, is about illegal immigration and people coming across and refusing to leave, breaking the law. But what I've found out is that immigration laws, the biggest problem with immigration law isn't the people who are breaking the law, it's the people who are following it. Because if we were to break the immigration law and Rebecca was just to cross over to the United States and stay there, her immigrating would probably be an easier process than it is with us actually following the rules, filling out all the paperwork, paying the money, and going through the process. There's an entire different side to immigration that you don't really hear about in the news, and that's my side. It's the side of two people who do everything correctly and they just have to wait in line. So what I'm really hoping by making this video is kind of shedding some light on the other side of immigration. Obviously, I don't have an immigration attorney. We couldn't really afford one based on everything that's going on in our lives, with trying to purchase our first home, trying to have two different places, by paying rent two different places, by doing all this stuff. We couldn't afford an immigration attorney. We couldn't afford a lot of the things that maybe could have helped. Obviously, I filled out the application stuff correctly because our last one was accepted, but then we have to start over again. So I'm hoping that I can kind of bring to light some of the issues that you don't really hear about. I'm hoping that maybe there will be reform that says, oh, you're from Canada, you are not a criminal, you're educated. Okay, you filled out the form and you paid the money, you can at least come to the United States. Because there are burdens that families have to face, like with me, that most people don't understand and that most people will never have to deal with, but you feel like you're being penalized for following the rules. So, like I said, guys, it's been 5 months since our newest application, and I'm really hoping to hear something soon. I'm actually trying to buy a house right now. I'm closing on the house, and I don't want to do that without my wife. I don't want to make one of the biggest decisions of your life without the most important person in your life. And so I hope you can understand how hard this process has been. We're 100% happy. We love each other. Honestly, there couldn't be two people better for each other, in my opinion, than us. And we know that we'll make it through it. We know that we'll keep doing whatever we have to do, but we need help. And there's a lot of other people out there that need help as well. So, like I said, if you know anybody affected by immigration, or you care about me, or you want the immigration policy in the United States for legal immigrants to be able to come to the United States easier, please share this video. You never know who's going to see it. Somebody might be able to help. And if you can, contact me if you want to know more about my story. It's a really neat story. We met on Instagram, and love at first sight, honestly. So anyways, guys, that's it. I'll keep you posted. Thank you.